Coming up, I've got the coffee and we have a very full inbox.
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Scott and Shaun Preece.
Hello. Welcome to another Double Tap for Wednesday, midweek, and Shaun Preece is here. Shaun, I'm excited because my keyboard, remember the keyboard I was telling you about yesterday? It's arrived. Oh, listen to that. Ooh. I hope this isn't turned on, otherwise my computer is going to be going absolutely haywire.
No, please.
Listen to that. Is that
Listen
not
to
beautiful?
that. How annoyingly loud is that? Are you holding that right up to the microphone?
Not really, no. It's funny, actually. I've just sat it on top of another keyboard that I didn't even realise was there. So, yeah.
You got mountains of keyboards.
They're actually mating with each other. It's just like rabbits at the moment in here with keyboards. It's just mountains of them everywhere.
You've got a problem. The first thing you said when we got together this morning was, it's arrived and it's amazingly beautiful, or something to that effect.
Yes, it is.
It's a keyboard. What's so nice about it?
I like the mechanical keys. It's got a nice soft touch to it, not too clicky, not too irritating. Some of these keyboards.
Sorry, did you just listen to you tapping the keys?
It's not that loud. That's not bad.
Okay, all right.
Some of these keyboards are awful. You've really got to be careful with what you're buying because some of them, they are so loud. And, you imagine sitting... I remember when I got my first mechanical keyboard, I'd never really delved into it. And I got one kind of around early 2020. And my wife and I, of course, like everyone, we're all at home and we're working at home. She comes into me and she says, Stephen, for the love of God, could you please change that keyboard? Because I cannot hear myself think next door for clack, 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 clack. She says, I feel like I'm sitting, in a secretary's typing pool.
70s typing pool.
1970s.
It's
horrible.
So strange, though, because I don't want to remind you of this, but you're working in a studio there, Stephen Scott, where noise is an important factor. And yet there you are, clacking away on the QWERTY version of a Perkins. I mean, what's the matter with you? It's so funny how important that is, though. And I always remember when we used to record with Mr. Lord Robin Christopherson.
Lord Robin of Christopherson.
And you could always hear when he was pressing the keys because it sounded like a sledgehammer going off.
Boom, 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 boom. It was like Jurassic Park, wasn't it? The glass would start to shake.
Robin, please don't touch your keyboard. But it's important. But I'm glad you're happy with it. It's just a keyboard. I don't know what's so special about it.
How dare you? It's more than a keyboard. More than a keyboard to me. See, I can't get copyrighted for that on YouTube because that didn't sound anything like singing.
Definitely
you see,
not.
so I'll be absolutely fine. Listen,
I can't. Your other device that we talked about yesterday.
Oh, we bored everyone to tears with that, haven't we?
Yeah, no, I just want to know, this is, just a personal conversation between us.
Oh, sorry, sorry. Listeners,
sorry,
listeners. Just shut your ears for a second. Go do something else. You were
sorted
going to go and do something else, answer the door or have a happy life. Go do that for a minute and then come back.
30 seconds. Have you managed to set it up? And
Yeah, I told you this yesterday.
No, you didn't.
I did. I said I've started using it. I just have to get my head around it.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm very sorry. In the last 24 hours, I had other things on.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. Okay. Welcome back to Double Tap. Carry on.
Come back in now. It's fine.
Mummy and Daddy have a fight. Sorry, carry on.
Dear. Hey, listen, hi to Brian, who's been in touch with us, and all of you, by the way, who've been in touch, especially over the holiday period. I know we are stacked up with emails, and we're going to get into some of them today, and WhatsApp messages, and YouTube comments, and social media. Goodness me.
Yes,
it's
I'm going to go
interesting.
through WhatsApp later. Sorry, people in WhatsApp. That's my fault. I will come back to you.
Although I want to say hello to Ryan, because he got in touch to say that he wanted to say Merry Christmas to us, and also Happy New Year and all of those lovely festive comments. And he said, I'm sending this, but I imagine that only Shaun will hear it because Shaun deals with WhatsApp. Now, that's true. That is absolutely true.
Deals is an interesting
deals
word.
Is a question, yeah. There's can we do air quotes? There's a thing. And that's true. But I did actually listen to that message, and therefore I replied to that message to say,
you?
I see. That's you didn't even notice that.
I didn't even know. I'm still on holiday.
You're still on holiday mode, right? I think holidays are over now. I think we're back.
Yeah, sorry.
I think that's it. I know what you mean, though. I'm the same. I'm still going through my emails. Honestly, I feel I need somebody to come in and just whack me over the head every so often to say, just get this done. Do you ever feel that? You just get stuck?
Well, no, I have that. That's you. That's what you do to me. So
right, so you need to do that for me now.
Oh, okay. Get it done.
No.
It's not the same when I say it. I need a Scottish accent.
Exactly. You're not strong enough. It's not.
Exactly.
I kind of just want to laugh. It's tee when I hear you say it. It's like, that Sean's being a little funny.
Yes. Thank you to everyone who wished us happy Christmas and happy New Year as well. If we didn't get back to you, same back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, we'll get to all your emails. I know lots of you replying and responding to the Braille Week. And it was interesting. I got one comment from a listener who I'm sure we'll play it in at some point. It was a voicemail saying, enough with the Braille. Okay. Well, we've moved on now.
Well, it was an important milestone, 200 years.
I think it's fair. I mean, look.
It's okay.
Yeah, at 200 years, I think that's a milestone we should mark. And I think giving it a week is the very least we can do. I will say, though, I think we're going to come back to this topic later in the year because there's a lot more to this story. In particular around the kind of international side of things, right? Because I think we've said this before. When you think about it from our point of view, as we often do, we think about, what state we're in terms of, whether we're in Canada or the US or the UK or New Zealand or Australia. We tend to think about, all the technology we have, and then we talk about affordability and challenges, but then think about Africa and think about access they have. And we did touch on this a little bit during the week. We did talk about this, that, in some parts of Africa and India as well, access is non-existent.
Well, of course. Yeah.
It's laptops running NVDA. But nothing wrong with that. But, that's all that they have access to. They can't afford to have JAWS on there, or they can't afford to have a Braille display connected. So screen readers are key to literacy and everything else. So, I think it's just, I love those perspectives because I feel people just open their mouths and say things. And I know you're thinking, so do you, Stephen, and you might be right. But I will say,
you even have an argument with yourself. I
just know what people are thinking. Right? I know exactly what you're thinking. You're sitting there thinking, yeah, you talk garbage out of your mouth
face
as well, your back mouth. So, I get that. But, I often think sometimes the perspective is important and it kind of opens your mind up to that because I think, very quickly you can say something like, Braille is literacy, end of story. And actually, that's not fair, actually. It's not that it's not right, it's just it's not fair.
Well, you know what? You did a lot of work on on that Braille Week, and to be honest, going back to the feedback that we got, that one listener saying enough with the Braille, I kind of understand that because you think, how much is there to talk about? When I hear about 200 years of Braille, you just expect to hear about Louis again and the history of Braille. But I think the conversations in that week were actually really interesting. I think there's still, as we keep saying, there's that conversation to be had about the future of Braille. So, yeah, well done, Stephen, is what I'm saying. There you go.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so Luke, let's move on because we've got plenty of emails. And I think we're going to start with Brian. Yes, Brian's going to talk about Meta Ray-Bans.
Hi, Double Tap team. I messaged you to let you know that Meta AI was rolling out a bit at a time and that I still had not got Look and Describe. Well, I ran out of patience and followed Sean's steps to get a VPN. Nothing happened until the next day when at last I had full functionality. I was over the moon with all the things the glasses could do, i.e. remember things, set timers and reminders, spell words, and even get telephone numbers, as well as describing stuff for me. Next day, I thought I would put them to best use by using them to find my wheelie bin, which, after being emptied, could be anywhere in our street. I went out of our garden gate and looked in the direction I expected to find the bin and asked Meta if there was a green bin in sight. It told me there was, and I found it with ease. Absolutely fantastic. I brought the bin back in and walked straight into a metal pole which wasn't there. At least it shouldn't have been there, except the garden people had moved it. The arm broke off the glasses and they are now defunct.
Oh.
But hey, do I care? You bet I do. Already bought replacements. I would like to warn folks that I only knocked them very slightly, so they are far more delicate than ordinary specs. Be gentle, guys. That's me for now. Keep doing what you do best. Brian.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear the glasses broke for you, Brian, but...
It's so easy to do, though. The amount of times we all walk into something or... Especially picking something. If I knock something off the kitchen counter and I bend down to pick it up, the amount of times I bang my head off that worktop, it's unbelievable. And it's so easily done. I'm glad it's working for you, though. But just to sort of curtail anyone's expectations, a lot of people who are using the VPN method are finding that has stopped working as well.
Yeah.
So, and I'm still getting people messaging me saying, I just set them up. I'm in the UK. I haven't used a VPN and it's working fine. It shouldn't be.
Again, the Meta AI might be working, but
the look and tell specifically, the look and describe feature is working. Really strange. Don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But for me, I've just forgotten about it, to be honest, the look and describe. Be My Eyes and Ira, the human video call support is fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you also to Laura for reading out that message, as she does beautifully. Let's go to Desi, who's been in touch also on Meta Ray-Bans.
Hey, hi, hello. This is Desi B from the UK, just chiming in on the Meta Glasses conversation. And just to say that in my area in the UK, this is on the South Coast, my AI seems to be working fine. I can look and tell, I can look and describe, and I don't have many problems at all with it. So I wonder whether this will be the same for the Be My Eyes introduction for the future, whether some people will get it and some might not. I'm so looking forward to Be My Eyes on the glasses. This hands-free idea is wonderful. And I think the Meta glasses is in a better position to be bought by many people as far as expenses are concerned. This is something I've been looking forward to quite a while and sort of been monitoring various glasses, such as the Seleste and the Vision people. So I hope this helps, but Meta AI seems to be working fine for me on the south coast of the UK.
Well, thank you, Desi. Glad it's working for you. Now, I will say, some of these emails we're playing in are, aging themselves a little bit. You can tell where we're at in terms of where these emails are coming from because of things like the Be My Eyes introduction, which is now, of course, fully here. And to my understanding, has rolled out across the board, right? I don't think there's any limitation.
Yeah,
if you get Be My Eyes, you can get access to it on the glasses, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, the Be My Eyes rolled out over a period of about a week, rather than months and months and months. And yeah, it's fully. I think everyone can get access to that now. And again, as I said, fantastic.
Should we talk about Seleste? Because
is there anything to talk about? But I think we should.
So we've been trying desperately to speak to those involved. Shub Mittal in particular, who is the founder and the CEO of Seleste. He hasn't been in touch with us. I don't think he's responded to us at all, has he? To come back on?
No.
But we've heard through various other people, and I'll not name names for obvious reasons because these are private conversations people have been having. But the sense we're getting is, and certainly what I've been told, is that Seleste are no longer updating their hardware, or at least going to be shipping new hardware. They may be continuing to use or utilize the existing hardware, but if you have Seleste now, it might be worth getting in touch with the company yourselves to just ask, what is the future trajectory here? It sounds to me, and I don't know, but from what I'm hearing it sounds to me as if things are kind of coming to the end of the road for Seleste, from what I'm hearing. I mean, certainly if there's no new hardware coming, that would suggest that this project may be running out and running out the clock. But again, we haven't heard from Shub.
We've got no information about that. All we're looking at is what's happening. And to be fair, it was announced by Seleste. I think it was on their website, and they did send out emails about there is going to be no more hardware updates. And the argument could be that there's simply at this time, there's no hardware updates that would make a difference to implement. The hardware is at a level where it's absolutely fine for what the software is doing right now. So that could be the argument. But yes, I'm hearing less and less about the updates coming through. So I am slightly concerned about Seleste. And the only reason we should talk about this is because, people can still go out and buy this. And I think people need to be informed, If we can't get any information from the company itself, then I think there's nothing wrong with us asking questions.
Yeah, and I think we do need to know the answer, especially for people who are paying money for this.
Yeah.
Now, equally, there's two ways to look at this, and I think it's important to say that if you are paying for it and you're getting a service out of it, it will continue to function. It's not like it's just going to stop working for you. That's a different story.
Yeah, and
Suddenly
we don't know.
you turn the glasses on, they don't work, and you're paying for essentially nothing. That's a different story, right? Yeah. But if it's working for you, you should be paying for it. That would be my view. It's a subscription-based service. You pay per month. So if it's working for you and it's doing the job for you, that's great. The question is, what is the I can't say that word. What's the future?
What's the future?
Holding for Seleste. And we'd love to know. We would love to know so we can inform our audience. But, we have reached out on a number of occasions and we've kind of held back because we haven't heard anything. But there comes a point where I feel we do need to say something because the silence is often deafening, right? And that's a concern. That concerns me a little bit.
I think that's the best way to sum it up, really, is that I do have concerns about, recommending Seleste, let's say, to any of our listeners at the minute, just because we don't know what's happening.
Yeah, and it's such a wonderful technology.
That blew me away. I mean, it's the first time, it was before we got the live video from any of the AI services, and that demo that, who did it for us? I can't remember. Was it Greg? I can't remember.
It was Gregory.
Yeah, Gregory, who did the demo about using it for going out for a walk. I was absolutely blown away. So, yeah. But I mean,
see, on one hand, you can say, and I think about it as well, maybe that Meta Ray-Bans put the nail in the coffin for it. And it's not, a unique problem to Seleste. I mean, look at what's happened over at Orcam. Things have changed over there for various reasons. But, can you really sell a specialist piece of hardware for thousands and thousands of dollars? I know Seleste was a different model of payment. But, can you really spend or encourage people to spend a huge amount of money on something when there's a product you can buy, which is, not an insignificant amount of money, but it's, considerably less and it's in the mainstream market. So you've got a bit more confidence in its longevity and it has additional features that can be useful to you.
Well, I would argue
hang on, but then I put that up against what Seleste has done, and they've built something for us in the community. And this is the challenge, isn't it? It's that mainstream versus specialist kind of clash that's going on here. Where a lot of blind people are probably thinking, well, I'd rather buy the Meta Ray-Bans because at least then I've got something that's going to be updated. And okay, we may not have all the AI features in one particular part of the world or not at this point, but it may well come. And when it does, it'll be good. And of course, other developers can develop for it. Whereas with something specialist, it's a one. I don't want to say one trick pony, but but at the same time, only this purpose.
What's all the frustrations that we have with the Meta Ray-Bans is because it's not tuned for us, and that's where the Seleste pick it up. The main disappointment that we have with the Meta Ray-Bans is, same thing with Be My Eyes versus, I don't know, something else. Seeing AI, let's say, it's tuned to give us the information that we're most likely to need as visually impaired people. And Seleste have done the same with AI and their glasses. And, arguably, the cost was very reasonable, I thought.
Well,
for the Seleste.
Yeah, reasonable if you can afford it. And reasonable if you're prepared to continue paying that money. But that's important though, because if I'm buying these Meta Ray-Bans, I buy it once, unless of course you didn't buy two pairs.
Yes.
Then you are essentially on a subscription. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
I'm with you. I totally agree with you. I just think there is, and we're going to see more and more of this. We're talking about the Ergo Solos, the new version of those, with the Echo Visions, what's the other ones we saw at Sight Village? The Sabres. There's going to be a lot of these glasses coming onto the market soon, and the ones that are specifically tuned for us are probably going to be the best match. It's just how much are they going to be?
I just wonder if in reality, I think a lot of companies will want you to imagine that blind people will only buy this particular product because it's tuned for us, but actually in reality, when it comes to it, when they're putting their hands in their pocket and spending their hard-earned money or their little amount of money they may have on a product, they're thinking, well, look, I'd rather get the most bang for my buck, and the Meta Ray-Bans offer it. Because ultimately you have a product which will get updated over time, and there are already companies like Be My Eyes and Envision and Ira working to get on there, and everyone wants to work on the Meta Ray-Bans. Everybody I speak to in development community who are developing apps are all saying the same thing. We want to be on the wearable, and the wearable of choice at the moment is Meta. But that's so essentially what's happening is that message is getting out there, and I think we as blind people are buying into that and saying, well, that means that this is the one we should focus on.
Hang on though, let me ask you this question. If we didn't have access to Be My Eyes or Ira on the Meta Ray-Bans, how useful would you find them?
Now that depends on where you live, right?
Yes.
Because there's plenty of people who love the look and tell feature. So that might be enough for most people. This is what I'm saying. It's like if it functions for you and it does the job, then why would you want to spend hundreds of pounds, either £100 a month or $100 a month or whatever it is for Seleste? Why would you want to pay that? Why would you want to pay thousands for Orcam or Envision? When you can buy something one-off cost, no monthly subscription, and you've got access to, okay, granted, a limited set of AI features, but something that will grow over time, and that in some way is useful. I mean, look, you've said it yourself. You don't have access to these AI features. You've got access to Be My Eyes, and you love that. And You said yourself you would buy the glasses purely for that. If they were just, you could rename them the Be My Eyes glasses.
Absolutely true. Yes.
And you would buy them for that purpose. So it's just an interesting development. I mean, of course, there will always be a need for specialists, and of course that's the case. But I don't know. There's such a race at the moment to get more features, more AI into these wearables, that this is all going to improve very quickly. And I think the success of the Meta Ray-Bans makes that more achievable. I mean, I go back to that thing about when they were first out, and I think Meta thought, we'll do this, it'll be a bit of fun.
Well, the stories did quite well.
They did okay.
The first attempts, they did
but then
quite well.
Something changed. Something just boom, and suddenly that was it. And I think it was partly because, most people are particularly vain these days. They want to see their own face in pretty much every possible situation.
Well, unless they're looking in the mirror, the Meta Ray-Bans aren't.
Well, they probably are. That's the thing, right?
I know. I think, look, the streaming aspect has a big part in it when it comes to the mainstream. The ability to take video, because that's so important to a lot of people. But I'm not doing them down. I love my Meta Ray-Bans. I'm just not so sure. The AI, I was a little disappointed in the Meta AI. I must admit, the look and tell feature I'm talking about here. Yeah,
you were disappointed. Okay.
Well, I was. I mean, I didn't find it particularly as good as something like Seeing AI, which is, I just want them on my head and be able to say, what am I holding? And it to read the label out. I struggled with that. I think the OCR was the biggest thing. And I still see people posting on social media now, I've got these because I wanted it to read my post. It's not going to do that. It will not. It will give you a summary, and it may give you all the information you need and pick a telephone number out of some post you've got. It will not OCR a document for you. And I think people still expect that from AI. And I think that's reasonable enough. I don't know why they don't make that happen.
Isn't it interesting, though, because we've got two options now pretty much in front of us. I mean, okay, at the moment we perhaps don't. We will get this eventually. Let's imagine a world where Be My AI is now available on the Meta Ray-Bans, right? Let's just imagine that world is here. You then have two options out there. You can go and buy a product which is built and tuned for you, which will cost more money. Or you can buy a product which can be developed with apps inside it that are developed for you. And therefore that keeps the cost down. And it's just a different way of doing it, right? It's instead of Be My Eyes going out there and saying, we're going to develop a wearable, which they could have done. Ira did it at the beginning. Ira developed the Horizon glasses and then quickly moved away from that because there was huge amounts of production costs and challenges and everything else that came with it.
Yes.
And of course, and that was very ambitious. Was it 2017 or something around that time?
It was a while ago now, yeah.
It was quite ambitious when they did this.
Hardwired into an Android phone, yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't, I mean, a lot of people loved them. A lot of people thought it was brilliant.
When they worked really well. I heard there was a bit of a reliability or consistency issue with them. But yeah, a lot of people were sad to see them go.
Yeah. So, what do you prefer? And I think I prefer the model of I can buy a mainstream product, and let's be honest, we're all thinking the same thing here. That's what an iPhone was, right? An iPhone came along. We could then, instead of buying a box, the blind box that you'd spend a fortune on, thousands of dollars, that did one thing, you could have that feature inside a smartphone. which was mainstream and lower cost. And
Absolutely.
That's essentially where we end up with Meta Ray-Bans, if they open this up the right way.
You know what's happened, though? We've learned to have a sort of valid trust in Apple when it comes to accessibility, with their OS at least. And, you know, of course, they're not perfect, and there's been a few dropping of the ball when it comes to accessibility with iOS updates. But with Meta, I mean, look, I totally agree with you. If you can open up the platform and let Be My Eyes, Ira, and anything else in there, Seeing AI into the Meta View app, absolutely amazing. But there's still been a few occasions where Meta have dropped the ball on, you know, voiceover accessibility on their app. Nothing major, but still enough for me to go, how important is accessibility? Now, it may continue to be fine, but at the same time, I don't quite have that trust in Meta yet.
It's funny you say that, actually, because there is this other side to this story with Meta. With Apple, there's a long track record here, and you know, as you say, a lot of issues come along. I'm amazed there aren't more. Sometimes I'm amazed. Sometimes it even works when I think about the complexity of it. But with Meta, it's kind of new, right? And I mean, I go to the Facebook website, and the commands to control the Facebook site are no longer there. Well, they're there. They're available. You can actually go to the keyboard command. You can bring up the keyboard commands list. You can look at all the shortcuts. For some reason now you have to actually enable them, which is kind of weird. There's like a toggle switch. You have to actually turn them on.
Really?
But even when you do, but even now when you turn them on, they don't work. And I've tried it across PC, across Mac, across different browsers. I cannot get, for example, the J and K key to move up and down the feed, which is how I would normally navigate a feed on X. And strangely enough, on X, despite everything with X and Twitter and all the rest, that still works perfectly well. The navigation, you know, if I want to jump to home, I just do GH, and that takes me to home, go home. And if I hit the period key, that refreshes my
timeline.
List, my timeline, if I want to go to notifications, it's GN to go to notifications. You know, I mean, it's really simple to navigate around.
Makes sense.
That was exactly how Facebook used to work. And it doesn't do it anymore. I cannot get it to do it at all.
Well, have they recently updated the website? Because they got rid of the m.facebook.com, haven't they?
Which a lot of people used. It was like a basic version.
I never found it much better, to be honest. I
never used it enough. I know friends of mine who raved about it, and that was the only way they used it.
Yeah.
And, and I understand that, but eventually they said, look, for security reasons, we just cannot keep maintaining this. So it had to go.
It's very strange that, though, right? Those website-specific navigation keys, and there is a commonality across the board. You know,
well, they generally are the same across the board.
Yeah, it's usually the question mark to bring up a list of the what the keyboard shortcuts are, and JK and to go forward and back through items, and there is. But it just seems strange to me is why isn't it not just screen reader? You know, specific. Why not just use the screen reader commands rather than these, I don't know, almost custom website implementations? I mean,
I don't mind it so much. I mean,
no,
I like the uniformity across the browsers. I think that's really good. You know, once you've learned how to navigate a site, you know, because I think the problem is that if you've got a dynamic site like Facebook or Twitter where you've got, you know, a central feed that is constantly updating.
Yeah.
You know, the whole website is changing all the time. So in order to maintain your position, using a screen reader might not work because it would be constantly losing focus, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, but you can, you know, I'm just thinking you always jump up to the top element, and then every post has a heading at the top, so you can quickly jump through that way, or next item, or, you know, the things that we're used to for navigating through whatever as screen reader users anyway. But yeah, I suppose there may be an argument for cross-platform keyboard controls there.
Well, look, whether or not you like them or not, I just want them to work.
Yeah, sorry.
And on Facebook, they don't. So Facebook, hello, if anyone's listening from Facebook, Meta, you know, I love your glasses. I'm wearing them right now. You know, I've proven my worth to you. Can you get your Facebook site sorted? Because I'd kind of like to use it.
Yes. You got to turn your screen reader into either, in JAWS, what is it, virtual PC mode?
Yeah, Insert Z will
Insert Z.
do that for you.
NVDA, it would be NVDA key space in order to basically pass through your keys to use those sort of navigations on those websites.
With VoiceOver, you don't need to do that in VoiceOver. seems to just automatically figure its life out.
Oh, does it? That's because you got to turn on quick nav. Or
yes.
quick keys or whatever it's called. Yes,
it's like the opposite way around on a Mac.
It is, yeah.
But no, I think it's a great thing when it works. So I mention it because it's annoying. Of course, we did touch on this a little bit at the beginning of the week, because one of the stories that happened while we were doing our series was around this sort of mentality towards Facebook posting now. So basically, you can pretty much say what you want, and then someone will come along and say, actually you're wrong because, and they'll add a community note. As opposed to any sort of serious content moderation going on. I don't know. Does that worry you? Because I mean, a lot of people are kind of saying, "Oh, well, here we go. That's it, mass exodus." And I can almost hear the sneering. I can feel the sneering from the Mastodon people. Our platform's so much better because we have nice people over here. By the way, that's garbage. By the way, can I just say that?
Oh.
Garbage.
Someone's turned against Mastodon.
No,
How dare
I love
you?
Mastodon,
I banish you from our community.
I hate these people that tell me that it's the righteous path. It's like, it's not. Have you been on there? The content is just the same as any other social media network. It's exactly the same because people are involved. People. Yeah, I know. People.
I think once you... I love your disdain, Steve. That's beautiful. And can I just say, I think once it reaches a certain critical mass of people on there, then it can go a certain way. It can go a little bit toxic. It can just become a place to try and raise revenue through scams.
And there's even less regulation on there, right?
Yeah,
I would argue there's even less anywhere else. But, the idea that it's more regulated is nonsense, because what you have, in essence, on Mastodon, the way it works is you have these instances. So these are servers that are essentially running the Federation network or whatever they want to call it. It's all very Star Warsy for me. I don't get it. But basically, you have these, I call them mini Musks. That's my name for the people who run these little servers. They're mini Musks. So you have people who are in charge of those particular servers who say, well, I don't like what you say, so I'm going to cut you off, I'm going to ban you, or I'm going to get rid of you. So you have someone who's completely, there's no regulation, there's no structure to it. It's just some guy in a basement.
Are you sure there isn't?
No, it's not, because it's all run on these instances.
Yeah, I know it is, but I'm not saying it's like, enforceable and but is there no
you can be kicked off.
Follow?
Someone could decide that what I've said is, if this was clipped up, right, and someone put a clip of this on Mastodon and I was saying, it's full of people, then someone might say, well, that's disgraceful, and therefore ban this guy and get rid of him. And then someone would just delete my account, and that's it. I have no recourse, and that's it. And that decision is based, by, some guy somewhere that I don't know, who's just sitting in a basement with a server.
That's the problem with anything. Who moderates the moderators, right? It's the whole free speech argument that's got no real solution to it. I think the majority of people who know what's fair and what's right.
And again, the same could happen on X, the same could happen on Facebook. I get all that. My point is that those who think that Mastodon is the righteous path, to me, just don't understand how it works, because you're in the same position that you're in on X and on any other platform. You can be attacked, you could be banned, you could be silenced, but probably more likely to be on those platforms. I mean, look at Blue Sky. Blue Sky, which I haven't been on, but I've been reading about. I can't do any more social networks, guys. I mean, I know that we are appearing on various networks. I don't deal with the social media side of things because, frankly, I just can't deal with it. But we are posting on various platforms, and I think Blue Sky is one of them. But Blue Sky is like the opposite of Twitter, in the sense of, if one's right wing, one's left wing. And, if you say the wrong thing over on Blue Sky, you'll get banned for saying the wrong thing over there. And it's just, I don't know what we want from social media.
A bit of civility would be nice.
Well, good luck.
A bit of,
because it hasn't proven itself to be the case, to be perfectly honest.
No, I totally agree with you. I'm almost given up. But the argument could be for Mastodon, exactly the thing that you pointed out, that this mini Musk dictator has complete control, maybe the thing that makes people feel safe. I mean, you got the ultimate safe space, joining a server with like-minded people.
Sounds terrible.
No, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying that may be a reason why people feel more
I don't want to
at home,
speak
more
to
safer in their
like-minded
bubble.
people. Who wants to speak to like-minded? Hello, do you agree with me? Yes. Oh, well, that was pretty boring. Right, excellent.
Sounds good
Move
to
along.
me.
No, that's the worst. Maybe I'm just an argumentative type, but I just don't want to sit in a room of people that agree with me. That would be the worst experience I could ever have.
No, I totally agree with you. And nothing better than a spirited, passionate, even heated at some points conversation.
Someone
debate,
said to me the other day on
argument.
Mastodon, someone said, I don't like you referring to the word journey. I think his name was Brian. It might have been Brian who wrote in. But we've got a lot of Brians listening to the show. But
Brian's
Brian
and
had
Greg's.
said, yeah, that's right, Brian's and Greg's. He had said about, me talking about sight loss being a journey, and said, I don't like that word. And I said, look, that's fine. But, that's your opinion. And you're welcome to it. But I don't think I don't know what else you would call it. So, and it was civil. It was like, okay, fine, I get it. And Brian came back and said, yeah, I totally respect that. It's like we're all entitled to our opinion about things. That's absolutely fine.
Of course we are.
But opinion doesn't mean you're right. And also, it doesn't, just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that sort of innocuous, I would say, boring conversation that you had there, Stephen. But the point is...
Oh, sorry, I'll bring up geopolitics next time.
Well,
make you feel better.
What is the problem of using the word journey is where I wanted to go. Well, what is the issue there? But let's not go there.
Well,
I don't
care.
have that argument now. But the point
You're
is...
arguing with the wrong person because I think it's fine.
If it suddenly becomes, hey, I don't like you using that word, well, I'm going to use it anyway. Okay, I'm going to post your name and address and, issue threats against you.
Well,
it's a totally different level.
It wouldn't surprise
right?
me if that happened on Mastodon, if I'm perfectly honest.
Well,
I'm telling you.
I'm sure
because
it has
you get
somewhere.
look at the amount of times that people have railed against this whole visually impaired thing and don't say this word and I don't like that word and don't use this word out of context and kick someone because they use this word. I mean, I'm so sick of it. I'm so bored of it. Seriously, the world is on fire right now, literally on fire.
Yeah.
And, we are concerning ourselves with these ridiculous little arguments that mean absolutely nothing, that change nothing. It's funny. Didn't want to bring this up, but honestly, I was watching the news, and of course,
Then please don't.
No, but the story, it's a horrible story, and I'm sorry for bringing you down on this, but it is horrible. This story, I mean, of course, LA and what's going on over there and the fires, and anyone who's in that area, my heart goes out to.
Absolutely.
Because it's such a horrific experience for anybody to go through, losing homes. I mean, entire towns are just disappearing. And there was a story about the number of, and I'm glad newspapers are picking up on it at least, but I'm not happy with the story, which is that, the amount of disabled people who've died in these fires because they couldn't get them out. People just couldn't get them out in time. And I'm like, but you knew that they needed to get out, so authorities didn't act or didn't act enough or quickly or didn't have a plan, probably more likely. And
but
so people literally died in their homes. I mean, God, what state are we in a world where, disabled people are dying in their homes because, disabled people, we really should have got them out. Yeah. Oh, well.
Well, I doubt if they were that glib about it, but I mean, it's easy
but that's kind of the world's view in some ways, right? Let's be brutally honest about it. Are we? I mean, this is why I go back to this thing about disabled people being seen as human beings. And the amount of people who say to me, oh, come on, no one's ever not thought of you as a human being. Absolute garbage. I'm sorry, absolute garbage. The amount of times that people have treated me like an object.
Yes.
Ever been through passenger assistance at an airport?
Dragged around.
You're a parcel.
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned. Just try talking to the person who you're actually, being guided by. Have a conversation with them. Let's see how much of a conversation you have or how many words come out of your mouth. And actually, instead of responses, you just get, we're going to turn left here. We're going to do this. They're not listening to you. You could say anything. I could say, hey, by the way, I've got anthrax in my bag and
Please
I'm
do
heading
not say that. Let me just say.
But I honestly don't think they would even hear me.
No. You could. I mean, arguably, are you just seeing that? Are you projecting that because of your disability? It could be they're just surly.
No, I'm projecting it because that's what's happened to me.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Yesterday,
that could happen
someone
to
helped me across
everyone.
the road. I said, "Hey, it's a nice day, isn't it?" He said, "We're going to cross now." I said, "Yeah, it's a nice day, isn't it?" "We're going to cross now."
Yeah.
You're not even listening to me. I'm going to walk out in front of this bus. No, we're going to cross now.
Well, to be fair, I tune you out sometimes, so...
Well, that's fair enough. You hear more of me than most. I'll let you away with it. You and my wife, I think, have probably heard more than you need to hear over the years.
I do hear what you're saying.
It just infuriates me, and I think that,
I get you.
I go back to this thing about, humans, just never mind putting the word blind or disabled or whatever in front of everything, and that somehow solves it all. It doesn't. It solves nothing. If you're not seen as a human being first, we've got a bigger problem.
No, I agree with you. I just think it's far less people than it used to be. The people who treat me or are scared of me almost, and I use that term, and I think it's absolutely true. People will sometimes ignore you completely and just pretend they're not there. I think that's far less than it used to be, and the majority of people are good people and are absolutely fine. There, I refuse to change my mind on it.
Well, we'll go on Mastodon, fight it out, and then one of us can get banned. Right, let's move on. Harrison's been in touch, also with some Meta Ray-Ban issues. Goodness, we still talking about it. Well, actually, you're still talking about it because we take that long to get to your messages.
Yes, sorry.
Let's listen to what Harrison has to say.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here. It's Harrison here from Worcester in the UK. I just want to talk about a couple of things. Firstly, the Meta Ray-Bans, which I've now had for a good 6 or 7 months, and particularly the AI, which I think is probably the biggest reason to get them at the moment, for me personally. I've been a bit gutted, if I'm honest, over the last couple of weeks. The AI has, well, 1 minute it's been here and it's been great. I mean, it's still developing, but it's been great. And the next minute it's not there. It's disappeared. And I'm still getting the message whenever I ask the glasses to describe my scene or a room or what's around me, what's in front of me. I'm still getting a message saying it's not available in your location. It's quite cold. Coldly says that. And it's still happening. So I'm not sure. It was all a bit contrary to the update that came out. It said in the notes that AI had come, all the features had come. Clearly, they haven't come to everyone yet. It's still a slow rollout. This is the 23rd of November. I'm recording this, so maybe by the time this comes out, things will have developed and we'll have the AI. But yeah, I'm just quite gutted, really. I mean, the VPN, it works sometimes. Other times, it doesn't so well. So I'm really getting a mixed experience with the AI. I hope it comes for good eventually. But yeah. Also, I'd like to do a public thank you to Shaun, because a few months ago he recommended to me that I'd look into Reaper as an answer to my question about audio production software. I've been using Audacity for some time, and it's been great for kind of learning the basics. But I really want to take it to another level, especially when it comes to multi-tracking. So I think Reaper is definitely the way forward. And I know, seeing as you're both, Stephen and Shaun, you're both Windows and Mac, you're in both camps. I was wondering how the transition, the move over to Reaper is going, and whether you actually see it as a kind of permanent stay in the future when it comes to your recordings. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Keep up a great show. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Harrison. I'm laughing because it's so funny. Shaun and I have been saying now for probably the best part of a year and a half that Reaper's the future. We're going to get into Reaper. Reaper's the answer. In fact, we've been telling other people, you should check out Reaper. Yes. And they have, like Harrison there. And we have done absolute zero with it, haven't we? I've done nothing with it. That's the God's honest truth.
I remember last year saying, within a week, I am going to be totally on Reaper. And yeah, that didn't happen. I've had a lot of help from many people, Mickey B, Garth Humphreys, everyone's helped me. And it is great. It's just, it's really difficult to switch your workflow over when you got to get an audio file out and done. And I'm just making excuses. Reaper is the future. I think it's great. Accessibility is great. It's so powerful. And it is... No, we haven't switched over yet, but it is the way to go. And especially if you're just starting and you want to get into audio production, I would start with Reaper.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound wonderful as a piece of software.
Do as
I mean,
I say, not as I do.
It's probably one of those pieces of software where I could really get benefit out of it. I think you and I probably don't need a heck of a lot of the features in it. It's way more fully featured than we need.
Yeah. No,
if you're into music and stuff, it's different. But, for us doing a show like this, I mean, it's a couple of tracks. It's, very limited editing, very limited.
Yes.
I mean, this is actually, what you're listening to is not edited at all. Can you believe that?
I know. Strange.
Shocking,
Should be. But
absolutely. We could cut it down about a minute, probably.
And do you know what? What I found was that there is a lot of takeaway that you can take from Audacity as well. The whole concept of selection, time selection, and skipping through. There is a lot of if you're coming from Audacity, you don't have to totally start from fresh. So yeah. But Harrison, what I'm saying is stick with Reaper. It is cool. Our transition, I'm still have it on and I still update it, but it is a lot slower than I was hoping it would be. But you know what? I'm taking my time. It's fine. I don't know why I'm trying to rush myself anyway.
Well, that's right. I mean, I often think to myself, sometimes people, someone it's one of these Facebook videos, and it was like, people often put things in time perspectives. In a year, I'll do this, or by the end of this year, I'll have done this. And people are like, you know what? The best thing to do is just start doing it. Don't worry about times and say by the end of 2020. And it's funny because I had said this year, one thing I wanted to do, I said it last year as well, was I wanted to get into grade 2 Braille. And after the whole conversation around Braille at 200, I was kind of like, do you know what? What I hear from a lot of people who know their stuff around Braille, but also those who've come to Braille later, like me, is that grade 1 might just be enough. So I'm like, am I holding back on my use of Braille because I feel there's like a missing piece of the jigsaw I must click into place before I can, before the day comes where I can launch myself into using Braille?
When you switch over to Braille completely. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know enough about the use case for Braille of grade 2. I just assumed it's something that you would naturally want to progress onto because it speeds you up.
It does. I think it does. But I think there's also that sense of, okay, but what's the long-term value? I don't know. I mean, I think there's always value in more tools, but the reality is, do we have the time to do it? And I think if the answer is no, and I do have grade 1 knowledge, then that might be enough to get me through. It was interesting, actually, because we were playing some board games over the holidays, and one my wife and I played for the first time was Scrabble. ChatGPT was invoked, the voice mode, to teach me how to play Scrabble. Never played that game before. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I've never played it. Yeah. And I thought, I should have ordered the audio instructions that came with the board, but I didn't. So I thought, I'll just ask ChatGPT. So, the voice mode comes on and I just ask away, how do I play this game? And it told me. So we figured it out and that was fine. So my wife and I were playing, and the version we got is a large print board. So it's a standard Scrabble game, but it has a large print board, and it has Braille on the tiles as well. So you have the Braille telling you the tile letter and also what the point score is for that. And that was brilliant. That was just brilliant.
Was it?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be?
Because
I could play the game.
I've had experience of buying, Blind and Monopoly and whatever else before in the past. And I've got to say, I thought sometimes it's pretty shoddy quality.
Well,
for the price that you're paying for this, you pay quite a lot of money for these accessible board games. And to be honest, I thought it feels like I could have made this myself.
Yeah, go back to Reaper, Shaun. I don't think you could have made it yourself. No, you can barely get a piece of software started to be used. So I don't think you're going to hammer together a Scrabble set. But I take your point. It's funny, actually, because my wife brought out the board and she sat it on the kitchen sort of breakfast bar we have.
It's about 6 foot by 6 foot.
Yeah. Yes, right. And she said, "Oh, look," and it was wobbling all over the place. And she's like, and we do that thing at first. We're like, "Oh, this is really cheap and it's nastily made, and now it's all bent and warped out of shape." And then she realised that if you just sat it there, you could spin it It was kind of built so it would spin. It was like, and then suddenly it was like, that's genius.
That's
this
amazing.
is the best thing I've ever seen.
A board game Lazy Susan. You just spin it around.
Yeah,
beautiful.
so you could turn it around easily. So that's actually pretty clever.
Right.
And then the tiles, we got them out. And the Braille is stickers. Basically, they have stickers they've put on top of the tile. And some of the tiles were upside down. Or the Braille sticker was kind of coming away. So it was as if it hadn't been put on properly. So you had these situations where it was like, like
exactly my point.
Like if you put a lock dot or something on a keyboard and it's kind of sticking off the end of the key, it's not quite in the center of the key. So you have that kind of lip of it kind of sticking over.
Do you find that acceptable?
It is pretty shocking.
But
in
the
some
price
ways.
that you pay for this.
Yeah, you're spending money in the quality control. Sometimes you think it's just not there.
That's the whole purpose. I'm paying that extra money so this isn't an issue. So these things are done properly. I'm sounding like a right whinger now. But yeah, no, that annoys me, to be honest.
Well, yeah, because it's wrong. I mean, again, would that have happened on the original Scrabble board? Would you have letters that were upside down next to numbers that were wrong? I don't know if the information's wrong on it. I assume not. I mean, of course, that's the other thing. I can't really tell, right? I can't tell if the scores are wrong. I can make out the letters because they're large print. That was actually quite good. And that's what enabled me to understand that one was upside down, because I thought at one point, is that a W or an M?
How big does the board actually turn out to be?
The board itself. I'm
just thinking, if you've got large print letters on the tiles, what are the tiles? Like a box of matches or a box of playing cards size?
No. They're probably traditional kind of tile, what you'd expect. Just maybe slightly larger, possibly. Just slightly larger, I think. I've never played it, so I don't know what the original Scrabble board size is like. Right. But it's it was enjoyable game, and at least we could play it. But you're right, the QC, the quality control is not ideal.
What are you doing playing board games anyway?
Well, I think my wife and I have come to the conclusion that television is interesting. In the sense, you know what it's like, right? Sometimes you think to yourself, this is just not worth the bother sometimes with television, because you go, there's only so many shows you can go through without audio description and go, do you know what, forget it.
All right, so don't turn it into a rant. All I'm asking...
No, I'm not. But you asked the question.
Well, okay. All right. So TV's got boring, so now you've moved to board games. That's very good. Okay.
Don't judge me, Preece.
I am. I'm not judging you. I'm judging what's going on in society today, because for some reason, Sarah's bought a chessboard, and now we're going to have a game of chess like we're some sort of intellectuals. None of us know how to play chess, but we now have an accessible chessboard, which is nice. It's never going to get used.
What's inaccessible about a chessboard?
Well, you need to be able to fill the checkers, the squares, obviously.
Okay, so the board has to be accessible, right? Okay,
it's like the black squares are raised, the white squares are lowered, and you can.
But isn't there like a horse in there, and there's a
horsey and a
tower or something?
It's castle and bishops and vicars. I don't know. I will ask AI how to play it. That'll be fun. Can I just say, we're talking about AI. Copilot. Have I mentioned that? How amazing it is?
No, I don't think we have.
I am in love with Copilot. What happened? I'm so flirty when it comes to AI. It used to be Pi. Pi was my first love, and then it left me, basically. It hasn't been updated in ages. They've all gone to Microsoft. Whatever. Then ChatGPT, which is still great, by the way. Copilot on Windows. I use Copilot on my computer all the time. The live conversation is the best. The voice is great. The response time is instant. It's absolutely amazing. There, I've said it. Accessibility of the Copilot app or page or window, if you like, is a little bit, but just for having a live conversation, it's amazing.
I'll be honest. I find with ChatGPT, once you get into voice mode on the phone, on the iPhone,
forget it. You're stuck there.
It's a nightmare, because you got to close the whole app down to get, and sometimes that doesn't even do it. Because once you've finished with the chat, you can stop the chat, you can end the chat, but it then seems to bring up a window that asks you what you thought of the call, and then that's it. You can't get out of it after that. You have to close the whole thing down and start again, so that's not ideal. Nope. Copilot I didn't find particularly inaccessible. I was able to get in and out easily enough and start a call, end a call. Sometimes you do find a screen reader interrupts it, and it starts having a chat with itself, which is quite amusing. But it started answering its own questions about something that the screen reader had said, which I thought was kind of amusing.
Just have a conversation between themselves.
Yeah, it's like, I'll just leave it to you guys. You figure it out and I'll go and make a coffee. But I did find it was quite useful. I was resetting my PC over the holiday. I reset my Samsung laptop, which had not been behaving very well. And you'd suggested to me just restart, just do a complete reset, get a Windows
scorched earth policy, just totally
get a USB,
format.
Make a media tool and just reset the whole thing. And I did, but I was struggling to do it, and I was having some issues trying to get into the BIOS on the Samsung laptop, which is always fun, or at least to get to the point where I could start it up using the USB stick
boot menu.
Yeah. And I thought what I'll do is I'll use the Copilot to try it. And what's really nice is once you've got it on the voice mode, you can just talk, you just chat away to it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And so I did that, had a nice little chat with it. And, it was saying to me, now you need to do this. And I'm like, that doesn't work. Okay, well, let's try this. And eventually it tried it. And at one point it said to me, you got to do this thing you got to do. And I said, no, there's no option for that. And it said, okay, just check again. And then you may want to just check there.
You're wrong. Yes, check it again.
And so I did, and it was right. The option was there, and I thought that's just brilliant. So yeah, kind of impressed by it, I will admit. I love the voice as well. I think the voice is much nicer on it. Not as knowledgeable though, because its knowledge bank only goes up to October 2023.
2023.
So can't give you any more information than that.
Isn't it annoying that? I think it's really good.
I just realised we got to go because we're out of time. But let's we just rambled away too much.
Sorry.
We'll be back tomorrow. We'll get into more of your emails then. For now, though, thank you so much for listening. Shaun, we'll catch you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye-bye.